All right, what is going on out there, podcast family? Welcome back to another episode of the Hook It podcast. Very shortly, I'm going to be joined by the legend Jono Jones. But if you're one of those people who skips the ads, please don't skip these ones. I got something really important to tell you. I am First of all, I want to say a massive thank you to everyone. Yesterday, Spotify did this thing where you could share your sort of 2020 Wrapped, and it was insane to see how many people have been listening to the podcast, some of the numbers and episodes you've been listening to. So I just want to say a massive thank you for that. It really put things into perspective yesterday of how many people listen to this podcast, and it was kind of overwhelming, if I'm honest with you. So massive thank you. If it wasn't for you guys getting involved, listening, sharing episodes, we wouldn't be able to do rad stuff like what we're just about to do right now. I am beyond stoked and proud to have teamed up with PUKY to give away 2 kids' bikes this Christmas. It's no secret that 2020 has been a rough year for so many individuals, families, and it's been super hard and weird for kids too. So I want to do something this Christmas to make things just that little bit easier for a really deserving family and their kid or kids this Christmas. So we have a minimum of 2 kids' bikes to give away. There's the PUKY LRM balance bike and also an 18-inch LS Pro Model 2. And if we get a good enough response, there might be some more bikes that we can throw into the mix as well. So maybe you listen to this podcast and either it's you or you know somebody who could really do with some help this Christmas, then please, we want you to enter to win these bikes. There is a link in the show description, or head over to our Instagram page, obviously it's at the Hook It Podcast, where you can fill out a really short form to enter. Obviously, we wanted to be super mindful that these bikes go to people who really need them and not just end up on eBay on the 26th of December. So again, massive thank you to PUKY for stepping up to the plate on this one. And thanks again to all you amazing people out there who listen and engage with the podcast to make rad things like this happen. Speaking of rad things, there are a few brands in the world who make it to household name level, right? We're talking the likes of when you think of vacuuming, Hoover, or when you think of storing a drink to keep it warm in a vessel, boom, Thermos. Or when you want to make sure your ice rink is flat and slippery, then boom, Zamboni. Or when you think of a search engine, then yep, Ask Jeeves, right? Obviously. Well, when you think of bike cleaner, you obviously think Muck Off. And I'm super excited to welcome Muck Off back to the party for this episode of the podcast. And now we're heading into the dark grasp of winter here in the UK. Make sure you are stocked up on winter essentials to keep your pride and joy running smooth. Wet lube, you gotta have it. The iconic nanotech cleaner, you gotta have it. You gotta make sure you're keeping that thing clean. And they have all the brushes for getting into those nitty gritty areas. And I also just noticed that they have a Christmas gift idea section up on the website too, muckoff.com. So go on, treat yourself. Treat somebody else. Treat your mum, your gran, your nan, your dad. Treat someone to some super important Muck Off. Keep your eyes peeled too on our Instagram page, because after the success of our last Muck Off giveaway, we're going to do an even bigger and better one just before Christmas. Wow, this episode keeps on giving, guys. This episode of the podcast is also brought to you by the legends at Works and their portable HydroShot portable pressure washer. It's definitely not petrol. So once you've cleaned your bike with some amazing Muck Off, then you're going to need something to blow that stuff off with. So boom, Works HydroShot. It's unlike any other pressure washer on the market and is the perfect tool for all you mountain bikers and moto heads. There's nothing worse than getting home from a day shredding and then having to start the big cleanup. Especially if you're like me and you keep your bike in the house, then it's important for the health and life of your relationship to make sure your bike is as clean as possible when you bring it indoors. So with a HydroShot, you can wash your bike at the track or at the end of a trail. It's super easy because they use a PowerShare battery, which draws fresh water from any source, no matter how remote you are. All you got to do is dip the hose into some water. It could be a stream, a river, a puddle. You can be super posh and attach a bottle of mineral water to it if you really wanted. And voila, you can wash your bike right then and right there. No more having to fire up a petrol jet wash, which the HydroShot is definitely not. The rotating head allows from switching from mist through to pulsating sprayer, which is capable of eliminating caked on dirt. HydroShot is available from select retailers only, including Amazon, Argos, Halfords, Toolstation, and the official eBay store, or check out their new UK website, works-uk.com. I've been told by these guys, though, that these things are selling out super fast right now. Obviously, it's the perfect Christmas gift for anybody who needs to clean stuff, which is everybody, unless you're disgusting. So make sure you get one of these before they all go. Last but not least, don't forget hookitproducts.co.uk. If you need stuff for your bike, frame protection, brake pads, mudguards, whatever, enter the promo code podcast and you'll get 10% off anything and everything on the store. I think that's enough from me, right? Let's get into this one, guys. I'm super excited to finally get this one done with Jono Jones. He's an absolute legend. Stories for days. A hero of mountain biking. A national treasure, some might say. And let's get into this one. And welcome to the podcast, Jono Jones. Enjoy.
Riders ready? Watch the game.
I got big boy pants on! Did we just become best friends?
The Hook It Podcast.
I guess, have you done anything? Have you been out and done anything since you're allowed to now?
No. In what way? Like what?
Yeah. Like, I've been to the pub or anything?
No, we're in tier 3.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Dude, everything up north is tier 3, right? So
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
Birmingham up is still exactly the same. So the only thing that changes
Wow.
is like you can go and get a haircut. Like that's pretty much it. Everything else is exactly the same.
Yeah. I've literally just done mine for this call.
Oh, it's beautiful, man. Nice work.
Speed lines.
I like
No, I
it.
didn't. My flatmate did. He was
Really?
buzzing.
Is it who is a hairdresser or is just have a go at it?
Never
sort
done
of
it
vibe?
before. Yeah. I said, I'm doing a video thing later. I need to have my Madeira haircut. So,
I just go for throwing a hat on,
Here we
bro.
are.
I've still got lockdown hair so bad.
good.
Oh, you did well in the mop down thing, didn't you?
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, that was well good. Was it
forgot
me and Win
about
in the final?
Yeah. Mate, I totally forgot about that.
Shit, this mustache. Like, even my dad was like, that is just the crappiest thing. He was actually disappointed.
I had to shave mine off last night. I can't really grow like facial hair that good. I'm pretty baby face still. But I managed to get one after like 30 days. There was a bit of a thing going on. But I couldn't stop playing with it and twiddling. I've made like all my face, like my top lip all sore and shit. So,
No way.
yeah, I was like constantly like playing and just like, oh, it's the most unattractive thing to look at. It's me just doing this all the time. And someone watched the like the latest episode of Where's Ollie, one of the listeners, I guess, and messaged me on Instagram. I was like, why are you always playing with your face? I was like, just sat there like this the whole
Really?
time. It's so bad.
I didn't have enough to play with. It's so bad.
No, I'm terrible, man. Like nothing grows. Like it's just shit. I mean, I'm 33, but I'm pretty sure I'm over puberty at this point. Yeah.
How old's Ollie?
Good
Is Ollie
point,
your
man.
age?
I think so. Yeah. I don't know. You know. I think he is. He might be a year older. He might be 34. I don't know.
He's away, isn't he?
He was. He's back now. Thank God. That was a real headache, eh? That whole thing, like. So, oh, by the way, I've hit record. If that's okay, we'll just edit any of this out. But
You didn't tell me.
No, I'll do a proper intro in a bit. It's fine. I can just edit it out. It's fine.
Yeah.
I just wanted to sound check you anyway, real quick.
Is it all good though? And the video?
Yeah, man, it's fine. Honestly, like we're rocking and rolling. It's all gravy here. We'll do a proper intro in a minute anyway. But yeah, like we came up with this whole premise for the podcast with Ollie of like, where's Ollie? So it'd be like, he's somewhere else in the world, which is great. But it turns out that when he's somewhere else in the world, it causes a real headache. That time zones, bad Wi-Fi, just the whole thing was just a nightmare. But we managed to get it done. So yeah, thank God he's back home for the next one, because it was hard. Like it was hard, hard work. So I think as well because he didn't know what he was doing on most days. He'd be like, I think I'm free tomorrow afternoon. So I'm like, yeah, cool. I'll sit. I'll wait. Just message me because he didn't have any internet, so he had to get back to the hotel. So I'd be like sat waiting for like did it for like 4 days. Just sat like waiting. I was like, yeah, let me know, and he'd just be like, nothing. I'm like, okay, all right, cool, man. We'll do it whenever. But yeah, we finally got it done when he hit Bali. So
yeah, I'd love to go there,
mate. It's on my top two, easily top 2 places to visit in the world. Bali.
Combined with.
Well, I think. Good point. I've never really thought about it. I say top 2, but I don't really know what number 2 would be. I think it's number 1.
Just the south of England.
Yeah, the south. Yeah, not been south for a little bit, man. Not been south. Last time I was south, we tried drinking 100 shots.
Yeah, the Centurion thing.
Yeah.
Which we all finished, didn't we?
I don't know if I did. I don't think I did 100 shots. I think I definitely accumulated that amount of beer, but I think I got to 80 and threw up, and then I was like, I need to tap out for like a little bit, and then come back to it and just have another beer.
I threw up, didn't I? But you have a minute to get back in the circle, don't you? So I was like, no, I threw up twice. I went and threw up over the fence into the horse paddock. Got back in for the next ones, and then the next one was a massive rush, and I threw up in a bag of crisps.
That's right.
And then managed to wrap the top. That's it. Horrible.
Living the dream. Mate, whose idea is that? Like, it's pretty dumb. Isn't it?
Yeah. Would do it again.
Huh?
I would do it again.
Yeah, I'd do it again. Yeah, it's definitely like the settings got to be right though, because I don't drink that often anyway. So the settings got to be right. Like round that table with like a few, bunch of good dudes is the right setting to do that. But I wouldn't attempt it in any other way. Like I wouldn't just be with like me and a mate or anything weird like that. Yeah. It's a definitely group attempt.
Yeah.
Definitely gets the job done,
there was
though.
Dodging going on. There was definitely some dodging.
Yeah, there was definitely a few bits of dodging going on. Definitely.
Oh, so we had the games, didn't we? That you weren't allowed to ask a question. You weren't allowed to reference how horrible you felt.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And then Dason kept being like, "It was so sick." It was like the shot of like Captain Morgan, wasn't it? Or something. Oh
God,
that's so funny.
Yeah, 100 actual shots of spirit could probably kill somebody, I think.
Should we do a Centurion podcast where we just get a few people on?
Mate, that'd be amazing. I'm in 110%. Like round table, 4 people, because I got a 4 mic thing. Yeah, round table Centurion.
Or remote.
Which would just be so weird.
Remote with a bucket.
Wow, enough. Remote Centurion podcast. What an idea, man. I like it. I like the idea. It's funny, I was just talking to Matt McDuff yesterday. We're on about trying, as soon as we can travel, trying to get like all the people who have a mountain bike podcast together to do like one big group episode. I think that'd be pretty sick.
Yeah.
Talking about it just the other day. It's like, it's so sick. Or it would be a nightmare. Or it would be an absolute nightmare.
We're all talkers, naturally. So
that's a fair point, actually, yeah. We'll just get absolutely nowhere with it. Anyway, let's do your proper intro, man.
Yeah.
Stoked to finally get you on here. I think, is it your first proper podcast? I mean,
the last one felt proper.
Did it? Lockdown Companion?
Yeah.
I guess. I mean, it's pretty much just Ollie and I talking utter shit. But yeah, I guess I guess it's a podcast. So, yeah. So, second one.
Number 2.
Wow, I got your virginity and your...
the follow-up. You got me back.
Yeah, I got the follow-up. Usually a little bit better, the second one as well, let's be honest.
I'll be the judge of that.
But nah, man, thank you for doing this. I really appreciate it. It's been on the cards for a long time, but yeah, haven't managed to get it done, so fired up, stoked. Looking forward to it. Looking forward to a yarn.
Yeah, man.
See what's been going on with you. And yeah, I know we went through loads of stuff, actually, because I remember when you came on the lockdown thing, you were probably on for a good hour or so during that, which is crazy.
Yeah.
And
we were railing it, weren't we? We talked a lot about Hardline, and then me and Matt, I think, getting into riding.
Yeah.
But yeah, Ollie's been with a lot of me for a lot of the trips I've done. Ollie's been part of those, so that was quite cool to have his perspective on it the last time. But yeah.
Okay. No, all right. Well, I definitely want to go over some of that stuff again. To be honest, just for people who maybe didn't listen to Lockdown Companion. But those things went
Sure.
pretty good. I'll be honest. They were like, it's still crazy how many people reach out about Lockdown Companion. If I'm honest, it's nuts. So thankfully, we haven't had to bring it back though, because there's been a few weeks where it's been like, are we in lockdown? Are we not in lockdown? I don't know. It's weird, but
Yeah.
So you're back in the big smoke then?
Yeah, down in South London. Not because the office is open, just because it's a change of scenery, and we're tier 2 here, so
Yeah.
Bit of freedom. Pubs are open. Went to the pub last night. That was a shock. And
Really?
you have to have a substantial meal, which everyone's joking about.
Yeah, I went to Manchester about a month ago, and that's just before we went into another like national lockdown, and it was the same there. It was like you could only order a beer with food, you could only have a main meal, no sides, and you could only have one drink, and then you had to leave.
Really?
Yeah, it was brutal, man. It was like being at school or something. It was real bad, but we were there for a sort of work thing, so it had to be done. It wasn't like a pleasure trip as such.
Yeah, so I don't understand that rule. I know we don't need to discuss politics, but like,
Well,
if you get people in,
yeah.
and you get one group of 6 come into a pub, and then you fire them back out as quick as possible, you just have like a change of footfall all the time. Whereas if you get a load of pissheads in for the whole night, they'll spend loads of money and then not like spreading more germs. So
it's a good way of looking at it, man. Not really thought about it like that. That works. Yeah, why are they trying to get people in and out like it's McDonald's or something? It's just keep everyone in. Yeah, that makes total sense. It's been the strangest year, man. And it's been the absolute strangest year.
yeah.
And the weirdest thing, again, we don't need to go too far into it, but it's like there doesn't seem to be an end.
Let's go far in.
There doesn't seem to be an end, though. Like, anything like this, usually you can go like, okay, come whatever month or week or day, it's over. But it just keeps getting almost, not worse, but kind of worse, that you don't really know when the end is. Like, you're down there, you don't know if you can go back to the office, to go to work. It's like, it's just and then I think there's so much anxiety around, like, you can have like 5 days for Christmas. Okay, cool, 5 days for Christmas. But then chances are we're going to go back into lockdown in January. That's the way it feels like. And it's just like, when does it end? Like, when does this actually end? Does everyone have to have a vaccine and then all of a sudden you can start doing shit again? Or it's crazy. I don't know, man. What's your take on it at the moment?
Because I'm in tier 2 now, it feels like it's ended.
Does it really?
Like, you can see your mates again, and
is there no restriction on how many friends you can see?
I don't have many friends.
That's
baby,
fair.
so.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I'd be the same, man. It's like you can only see 6, and you're like, I struggle to get
How can
6
I get
people
that?
together.
Yeah, we just jumping in where the tables. But no, like, it's like feels like a small win, because you can go, bump into your mates and whatever. I was lucky. I think we said last time I went back to my parents' house for the first lockdown, and we've got Woburn Woods there, which is obviously how I got into biking when I was younger. So I could ride from home, and the bike park wasn't open, but there's still expansive like trails to go and ride. So I was super lucky. But around here in built up areas, I don't know how people managed it.
Really,
but I think the winter's like a different ball game, isn't it? Like, you work, it's dark when you finish, and you can't go out anyway. It's just like, it's well depressing. But I don't know, it's the same for everyone within reason. So that's what we've got.
What's it like in the actual? Have you been like into London as such, or are you just on the outskirts? Because what's it like? Like, is the people around?
Dead.
Is it really? Yeah.
Completely dead. So our office is closed, I think, until about April time.
Right.
Provisionally. But I went to see a couple of mates who are actually tarmacking a pump track in East London.
Right.
Kai Forte, if you know who that is.
Yeah, I do. Yeah. I don't know Kai personally, but I know we've got a lot of mutual friends. Yeah.
So they're doing a bit of work. He's got like a pump track or BMX building company, I think. So they're tarmacking away, and then I went and meet them after work, and we got the Boris bikes out and rode through Canary Wharf, which is like a big financial district, and there's not a soul there because all the offices are closed. I got the tube back, and it's probably 2 or 3 people per carriage, and normally you're wedging yourself onto it. Or you have to queue and wait because there's not enough room. There's just no one about, which is quite nice. But then I do quite like the busyness of it down here, and it's just not the same. But
So you're one of those dudes then that likes the hustle and bustle of London, even being like a set country boy, I'd guess, growing up, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Really.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know why. I think it'll wear off big time.
Yeah. See, I really dislike it, man. Like, I've been into London quite a bit. I used to go down for work every now and again. My girlfriend's friend, she used to live in London as well, and we'd go down, and honestly, I reckon I got like 2 days in me, and then I'm like, it's too much. I don't like it at all. I've always like been in the countryside pretty much all my life. You know, sort of quite, I wouldn't say isolated as such, but definitely, you know, I wouldn't struggle to go for a walk and not see anyone for an hour. So then when you sort of, personally, when I'm faced with that amount of people and traffic and noise, it doesn't go down well with me, to be honest. I just can't stand it. And I do like the, I remember a few years ago, actually, I went down to London and went to Warp Tour on my own, which was a bit weird. But I went to talking about not having any friends, I went to Warp Tour on my own.
What is Warp Tour?
Warp Tour is like it was in Alexandra Palace, and it's basically like a big gig. They have like loads of bands playing, and it used to be a sort of tour in California. So they used to have like a skate ramp, and it was all like you know, rock music and punk and stuff like that. So yeah, I managed to get some tickets to Warp Tour. So I went down on my own. Super creepy, but even that, like, just the anxiety about being, you know, getting on a tube on my own, and I guess not really understanding it and thinking you're going to end up somewhere totally different where you shouldn't be. And it's
so the only difference I'd say for me, I used to hate London when you'd like come down with your parents or whatever.
Yeah.
Be like, oh, day out, because you sort of float about a little bit and you don't know where you're going and you don't know what's around the corner, and everyone's bumping into you because you've gone to those touristy locations where
where it's
got
busy
selfie sticks and bumping into each other. Whereas like now I live here and work here, it's like, yeah, it's a massive spider web, but you always know what web you're going to, and you're like, right, I'm in the office, then I'm going there, seeing someone there, and then I'm going to do this, and then I'm going back to my flat.
Yeah.
So you've always got like a bit of a mission, rather than just sort of bumbling around.
Yeah, and I guess the touristy places
pictures.
like Oxford Circus or wherever it might be are like super busy normally, and it is probably...
Yeah, I'll never go there, so...
Right, okay.
Yeah, when I do, it's like if I've got to go to a shop, it's... Yeah, no, you're right, it's quite shit.
All right, get the flat on the market. Moving back.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like, as someone though who's...
The outcome of it.
Yeah, the outcome of this is you're like, yeah, I hate it. As someone though who's always been, you know, you've got like easy access to the outdoors, you know, being a mountain biker and all that sort of stuff. Is it a bit weird not being able to just jump on your bike and go for a ride, or have you started riding more like other stuff? Do you ride a bit more street or whatever?
No, I don't have any bikes here.
Right. Oh wow. So you're fully away from it when you're in almost work mode.
But that's not new. When I went to university in Nottingham, I didn't take bikes there.
Really?
Yeah, I did like once or twice because there were some cool places I found out about.
Yeah, you got like Bestwood.
Joined like the downhill biking society. Yeah, Bestwood.
Yeah.
And they were like, let's go riding. And they had the Bucks thing. I don't know if you've been to uni, but there's like the inter-university sports competition. So there's like a football league, rugby league, American football, every sport you can think of, and all the national universities compete in it. So there is a downhill competition.
Right.
Just for students, and it's so sick. Like, because you get a few people that love downhill, and there's some good riders there, and then you get 90% of them that have got a bike and have heard that there's a race they can go and do. It's a massive piss up.
Yeah.
And it's absolutely brilliant weekend.
I bet that's pretty cool, actually. Yeah, I bet that is fun.
And they used to hold the cross country on the same weekend as the downhill. And such is the Lycra versus downhill sort of rivalry. Downhillers would race on a Saturday, and then, excuse my language, but fuck the cross-country race up. Like, if there's a big off-camber grassy turn, there's like pour fairy liquid and water all over it. It sounds so childish, doesn't it? But it was, I really missed them. I did that the 3 years I was at uni.
Okay.
In Elithan twice, and Antistignog in the snow.
Oh wow, sick.
Tough, but brilliant.
Who else?
Some of the best races I've done.
Anyone else doing it, or did you win them?
I did.
Yeah.
I did win the 3 of them, but there was some good riders there. It was proper racing.
Right.
Like maybe like outside the top 10, it started to drop away a bit, but like we were all really, really racing. So it's cool being up there with people that I would race sort of nationals with a few years ago and things like that.
Yeah.
But suddenly just surrounded by students at this event that you're kind of racing for your uni.
That's
well
cool.
Good.
Yeah, that is cool, man. That is cool. And I guess as well, we've got so much young talent coming through in the UK. It only makes sense that the uni racing would be quite good as well. Like I said, I was just mulling it over in my head then. I'm like, obviously, we've got like loads of juniors who will be maybe heading into uni a little bit and stuff. So, yeah, it makes total sense.
Yeah, I get messages now and then from people saying, like, I'm going to university and I'm worried that I'm not going to be able to ride. Like, what did you do? And there is loads of people that do it at every university. There has to be. It's such a popular sport, and these races are brilliant, and there's always somewhere around the corner you can ride. But for me, I just didn't. Like really kept that life separate, and none of my mates were into it that I made up there.
Wow.
They were like football, so I'd like be a goalkeeper when they'd play on a Wednesday, and that is the worst thing. I'm so bad at it. I got lobbed from kickoff. I was like on the corner of the big box, whatever it is, chatting to one of the defenders about the game plan. I was so keen, and they just kicked off and lobbed me. And I conceded 5 throw-ins in one game. So there was a fella that could launch the ball, and he just threw it past. Like I'd get like grouped up with other defenders or whatever they're called, and they just throw it in. He did it 5 times in a game.
Gutted. That's so bad. Well, I was trying to think as well. I didn't do uni. I bailed out of education at 16 because I'm one of those kids. But I have attended like a few uni ice hockey games. They're called varsity games, right? So
yes.
Right. And what I liked about
rivals.
Yeah, 2 rivals, especially in Sheffield. Well, in Sheffield we've got 2 unis, so we've got Sheffield Uni and Sheffield Hallam. So like the hockey game would be in our arena, which is Sheffield Arena. It's massive, and it'd just be the most hilarious hockey game ever. Because I think what's meant to happen was people would go to uni and be like, "Oh, there's an ice hockey thing you can do. I've never played ice hockey in my life, but I'm at uni, I'll just buy some kit and give it a go." And like you'd have sort of like semi-pros playing someone who can barely skate, and it was just amazing. It was so good, and it's cool that people do that. I think that I'd have done that if I went to uni as well. Huh?
Did they have any scraps?
Yeah, there was always a couple. It's like one of those things, you'd always have like, a varsity fight, I guess. Sometimes it'd be pretty weak, but yeah, it'd be chippy. It'd be like a super chippy game. And all the crowd would be at each other as well. It'd sell out Sheffield Arena, dude. I don't know how many people Sheffield Arena holds, but it'd sell out Sheffield Arena of students getting pissed. It was amazing.
Yeah.
So good. But yeah, I like that. I didn't do uni, but I think I'd have done that as well, though. I'd have just picked up some random hobby and just been like, I'm just going to join the archery team and just give it a go.
I could see you playing Quidditch, Davey.
Yeah,
I think you'd be good at it.
Oh dear. That's cool though, man. So I want to do some of the backstory stuff a little bit as well, because it's super interesting about growing up and whatnot. But like, how come you chose to go to uni in you're Nottingham, right? How come you chose that place? So it wasn't even sort of like, you didn't even look at the bike scene up there or anything. You were just like that spot. Because a lot of people obviously come to Sheffield Uni because the riding's so good. But you did the opposite.
Yeah, I through your A levels, which I did, like sixth form, and you do your A levels exams. You just jump through the hoops. They're like, right, you've got to do your UCAS application, if you want to go to university. So I was like, all right, I'll do that. And then suddenly you've got to pick which universities you want to go to. So I was like, well, what do I want to study? And then we did like, is it like a psychosomatic test or something that tells you like what sort of course they think you'd like based on things that you like. So mine kept coming out with mechanical engineering because it was quite physics and mathsy, which I kind of liked. And to me, that was like, yeah, I like bikes. I like how they work. Love like suspension and stuff. So I was like, that's what I'll do on a mechanical engineering degree. So it's like, yeah, if I'm going to do anything, I'll do that. But I didn't want to go to university.
Right.
I just had to jump through those hoops.
Okay.
Are you still there?
Yeah.
It's frozen.
Yeah. I'm good if you're
Bugger.
right.
Oh, there you are.
Oh, yeah. Oh. Should be good now.
Yeah?
Yeah, I don't know what happened there, man.
Could you hear me the whole way through, or do I have to back?
Yeah, no, I could hear you.
Okay, you froze. You look like, I don't know what you look like.
It's happened twice today, that's annoying. Anyway, hopefully it doesn't happen again.
I was saying, yeah, so this whole time I was just going racing all the time.
Yeah.
So I was literally just jumping through hoops to fulfill what the school wanted you to do. So once you pick your course, you pick where you want to go. And my mum used to like drive us around and visit all the universities. And we'd sort of just walk around staring at the floor because for Matt and I, we were never going to go. We just liked biking. So then I picked Bristol as my first choice because it apparently was a really good one.
Yeah.
For the course, because that's all you've got to go off. I don't know anything about these cities. Then Bath, and then Nottingham, and I didn't get an offer from Bristol because they wanted all 8 stars at A level. I didn't get into Bath because I didn't get an A star in maths, so my second choice was Nottingham.
Right.
But Matt and I both did a deferred entry, so you have a gap year basically, and it will start the following year. And off we went doing our competitions. He was doing crankworks. I was still racing World Cups. And a year went by, and we both didn't want to go, liking what was going on. Deferred again.
Right, you can do that, can you?
Allowed to do well, yeah, because it was for sports and that. They were like, you're pursuing something real. So fine, we'll see you next year. And then I had a shit year of racing. I got a bit like, I don't want to use the word head fucked, but that's, to be honest, what it was. Like I just stopped racing well. Like I think the pressure got to me a bit, and I still felt like I was riding well, but just my actual race runs were really bad, like the ones that mattered.
Yeah.
And I broke my wrist quite badly, so it's just a bad year. And then I just felt like you kind of look around the paddock, and there's other like privateers like me at the time that have been doing that for a few years and hadn't jumped onto big factory teams and things. And I guess you could say it was like a bit of it wasn't like an easy way out, but I just thought I don't want to be here in 5 or 6 years.
Yeah.
Still flogging a horse. That sounds quite good, actually. That's a quote.
Yeah, you can have that. That's a good one. Real good one.
Yeah, I didn't want to flog a horse that wouldn't gallop. So off I went to Nottingham and really didn't want to be there. Parents dropped me off. Single little room in a halls thing. I just shut the door and put Game of Thrones on and sat and watched that for like 6 hours. And then I thought, I probably should go and make some friends. Like I'm going to be here for 3 years. And went down to the Hall Bar and never looked back. I had absolutely quality time.
Amazing.
I loved it.
Really? So you feel like if that year had gone better, if that year had gone better, would you have just not gone, do you think?
Yeah, maybe. So for Matt, he kept deferring his uni entry for quite a few years. There's no way he still is, but he kept doing it because I think for him it was like still an option, and he would have been doing the same course at the same uni.
Oh right.
Like that little we wanted to go, we were just like, yeah, Mum, we'll do that course at Nottingham or Bath. We like just chose the same things because it was like we'll just boxes. But yeah, back to your question. Maybe you're right. Like at the time, that is what I wanted to be doing. I wanted to be racing, and I think if it had just took a bit more of a tangent, maybe I'd still be doing that. And it was just my head. It just, Ollie, I know we spoke last time, cannot race. He hates it. And he is such a phenomenal bike rider. So the second there's a time against him, like it just implodes. And that I felt like that's what happened to me. But what's cool now is because I've got something else going on. I've got those years under my belt of starting a different career. When I go and race, I absolutely love it, and I don't feel like I've got that problem anymore.
Yeah. Do you feel like there was just too much pressure on the shoulders? It's like it's got to work out.
I just don't get to ride much.
Yeah. Right. Okay. All right. Interesting though. Super interesting, dude. It's so weird to think like what could have been if that year had gone better and where you'd be, because who knows? But I think it's a smart choice though, man. Like going and getting your uni degree and then obviously moving into a job, because there's a lot of people that will have hung on to that. Like you're saying, privateers just like trying to make it, and it's the horse ain't galloping. The horse
which
ain't
is
galloping.
really admirable, I think. Like, to have the commitment like that. And who's to say one bad year should write off the potential for more? But I don't know. I just thought enough was enough. But Matt, my brother's, he didn't go through that. He has gone through it with competitions with his head and stuff. It's very, very similar to me, and does not like competing. So he's really found a niche that works for him now. That's not to say he doesn't perform well at them. He just, I think, got a bit like I did, and it's not really a lot of pressure, really. Yeah, there's people watching, especially what he does if it's like a show. But you're just doing what you'd be doing with your mates at the weekend anyway. Only now there's just a clock running.
Yeah, I guess.
Just that single element of it's just weird. And some people like G Atham under pressure. I've heard stories about him, and like he just relishes it. Like he's so good when you've got to put all the cards on the table, which is quite timely with that project he just put out.
I haven't seen it yet, actually. I know it's come out, like, was it yesterday or today? I haven't managed to watch it yet. Yeah.
Big.
Is it?
Big jumps. Nothing looks big on camera, but they still look big.
Yeah.
And I've been up to that bike park. That is such a sick place to ride. Derby Bike Park. It's wicked. But Dan, his brother, is gnarly. Like he'll ride hard, and he said he would not jump them.
Really?
Like not a chance in hell would he ride them. So that's like a testament.
You know it's gnarly. Yeah, you know it's nuts. Wow, that's cool. Now I need to watch that again. It's just been one of those things. Sometimes too much media, man. You can't keep up with it. It's too much going on.
Yeah.
One of those.
I don't watch it. I don't watch YouTube or anything.
Do you not?
No, I don't watch any vlogs. If I'm in one of my brothers or Brendan's, then I'll watch it.
Yeah.
Which is strange, actually. Probably just to make sure I've not said something that's bad. But no, I don't watch it.
Huh. See, I do. I think it's because I'm working at home as well more. Like I seem to always have something on in the background, whether it's like a podcast or a YouTube video or whatever. There's a few people I kind of do like watching on YouTube. And I enjoy watching podcasts on YouTube. So, that'll take like 3 hours, for example, of a day up. And it just overlooks things, and it'll go like 3 or 4 days, and I'm like, I haven't been on Pink Bike. I'll have a look, see what's going on. And then, I missed it. Or, there's that much coming out. I think things like quickly go down the page, so you end up just not even seeing stuff. It's almost impossible to keep up with all the stuff that's coming out. It's like an actual full-time job trying to keep on top of it, especially if you're into more than one sport too. Like if you're into moto as well and surfing and whatever, it's like fuck. There's so many edits coming out and vlogs and projects and stuff.
But it's such a big sport now. Well, it always has been, but it feels like more and more of what you call the public are getting into it. Yeah. It's such a good time to be like a fan of the sport, and especially with the World Cups. I loved just being a fan sat at home. There was 2 races on in a weekend.
So sick. I know, I was a bit of a fan of that as well, to be honest.
The guys that raced them this year, I obviously didn't, but they said it was absolutely exhausting. The day after a race, like, you finish the race, you always get KFC on the way home, don't you? And you wake up knackered the next day. Like
you put your KFC like outfit on, hit the KFC.
Yeah, you do. And then they've got to get up and go and practice again after that same thing, which was tough for them, but real cool for us, I think, to watch.
Yeah, it definitely was. It's cool that they even managed to save any of the season, to be honest, because it looked like it was a no-go pretty much all the way through. And it must have been hard as well, training for that, because I guess you got to keep the training up, but not even knowing if there's going to be a race, and you got to be ready if there is a race. That must have been real tough.
And a short off-season now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you aware of like what it's done for athletes when it comes to deals and stuff like that? Have you even with your own experience, it's been a weird year. Like, has it fucked stuff up?
I think it's tough. Like, the industry has done extremely well.
Yeah. Because
everyone was locked in their homes and went and bought mountain bikes. So I know a lot of companies sold out everything. But I think there's just like an underlying doubt whether that's sustainable or what the future holds. And then from a racing athlete's point of view, you pay to get results, and it hasn't been any races. And then from a more of a socials rider, you pay to produce content, and then you're not allowed out your house. So
I
think there's been a trade-off. The industry's done very well, but then I know a lot of people had pay cuts and things in response to the fact they weren't doing a lot.
I think what was super interesting as well was to watch how certain athletes flourished and made something. I mean, your brother's actually a good example, isn't he, with the lockdown build in the garden.
Absolutely.
It flourished, the channel seemed to blow up even bigger than what it already was. And then you have certain athletes, which is, it's their deal, whatever, but you won't hear anything from an Aaron Gwynn or a G is probably a good example, although he's just put this project out. Those guys are just training, they're just in the grind, just keeping it rolling.
Yeah.
It was really interesting to watch how that all unfolded, to be honest, and how they all dealt with it. And I remember early on, you started seeing all these, even new podcasts popping up. Everyone, all these athletes were starting podcasts just for something to do, and it's this is really cool. Hopefully it's sustainable, but it's really cool to see how people are right, what can I do? Yeah, those first few months, man, Danny Hart did every interview, every podcast. He was everywhere. And then I think he was fucking hell, racing's probably way easier than doing the media stuff. He went back into the pain cave, I think.
Yeah. I like Danny. He's well funny.
Yeah, same.
Big Danny Hart fan. He's cool.
Same.
David, can I run for a wee?
Yeah, sure. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hang this call up and call you back. Because it is a bit notchy, and we'll just try again.
Is the sound alright?
Sounds good, actually, yeah. It's fine.
It's fine. That's the
main thing is the sound. I can't remember what we're talking about now. I wish I'd gone for a wee myself.
Can we talk about trials bikes?
Why?
How they're the best thing ever.
Oh, you got on the trial scene. Yeah, of course. I thought you meant street trials, mountain bike trials.
Oh, well, I've not done that actually. I'm so bad at motorbike trials, so it's probably a good thing I'm doing. What have I done here? Let me just... fuck it. Language. Actually, can you help me? I've blown myself up, so I'm next to you.
Oh, really?
On the tree, and I don't want myself there.
Can you double click the screen?
Eradicate me back to the corner.
Can you double click the screen? Does that help?
Doesn't matter. It is what it is.
I don't know actually how you do that, dude. To be honest, I've never got it, so I'm really big.
Oh, I've done it. I double clicked on you.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So trials, man. Trials is cool, man. Trials could be one of the most underrated forms of motorcycling, I reckon.
It's the best. You ride motocross, which you have.
Yeah.
You even look at your bike to get it out and go and do a track day. It's going to cost you £100.
Yeah, minimum.
Isn't it? Even if you in the peripheral vision, you get a glance of it.
Yeah.
It's £100 to take that thing out.
Yeah, minimum spend £100.
Trials bike, never change your oil, never change your filter, never clean it, won't break, and doesn't use any fuel.
It's fair. I've only ever done one trial in my life, and I really struggled with it at first because I rode a trials bike like I would a motocross bike. So I was all gas, no real thought, just hit it and hopefully you'll get over it. But then after, like, towards the end of the day, I was starting to like figure it out a little bit and be like, okay, right, you need to really slow it down. Like, I was all clutch as well. Like, I was slowing the bike down with the clutch, if that makes sense. So I'd be like accelerating and then just using the clutch to sort of slow it down. But underrated form, and it's cool to see so many people getting into it as well. And I think it's
everyone.
amazing for your balance and for your bike skill in general, I think. So you've been riding. I seen you were riding with like Drogan the other day, right?
Yes, the Peaks boys.
Yeah.
Mate, it's so fun.
So do you make
and
the
they're all
pilgrimage
really
all the
good
way up
mountain
north?
bikes. Yes, I did.
Awesome. That's cool.
And did a couple of times before lockdown as well. And it's well worth it. They've got big rocks up there.
Yeah.
Not that I can get on them, but it's like nice to be amongst the rocks. It's a good sport. But I'm really bad at like jibbing and tech stuff.
Yeah.
So I feel like it must help with the mountain biking thing. But when you go downhill on them, because there's no seat between your legs, you can like hook it into like a road gear, which is a real tall gear, isn't it?
Yeah.
So there's no engine braking, and they're like riding a mountain bike.
That's true. Yeah. Fair.
Yeah, they're well good.
A friend of mine, he's got a trial store. He's literally around the corner from my house, and he distributes the electric ones. I can't remember the name of them, but they're fucking sick. Like an electric trials bike that's like basically got the same torque as like a 250cc trials bike, but it's silent. It's really, really cool.
And it's instant torque, isn't it?
Instant, yeah. Yeah, I remember having a go in the car park on it and been like, okay, this thing's legit. Because you just think it's going to be electric and super slow, like it's some sort of like kids, like Jeep thing or whatever. But no, super cool. So what's the plan with the trials, man? Like, you're gonna do like a Bernard Kerr and enter like a World Cup or something, or a World Cup.
What's the big one? Sheffield Indoor.
Indoor, yeah. I can see you doing
that. I'll do that.
Just sign up, man. There'll be a loophole you can get through.
He actually got good at Supercross, didn't he, Bernard?
Oh man, yeah.
Maybe not A1.
Dude, hands down, like one of the most ballsy things I've seen in a long time, personally. To even consider going and riding that at any level, out of the UK especially, takes nuts. It takes like real balls. He just did a really interesting podcast with Jace at Gypsy Tales. And Jason and him went pretty deep on the whole project and stuff and why it came around. It was really interesting. If anyone's listening wants to check that out, Bernard did Gypsy Tales. It was good. But yeah, massive respect to him for going and doing that, man. I can't even imagine like the thought process that was going through his brain. But like you say, he's good. He's a good rider. Like, there's no reason why not. But
when I'm stuck on my bash guard on a tractor tyre at the Sheffield Indoor, he'll be nothing.
Yeah, you can make a vlog about it. You can do all this stuff, man. So you're gonna enter some trials then? Because trials are like there's been some through lockdown.
I've done a couple.
Okay.
I did a couple before lockdown, yeah. A lot of them over in like Suffolk and Ipswich.
Yeah.
Over that way with those lads. They're well good. They're not expensive. They're like 20 quid. You can score yourself. Maybe that was like a coronavirus thing.
No, I think you do a lot of the time. You do. You just you just go around and do it yourself, and sometimes, a lot of it's
like
just
around
volunteers. Yeah. It's an honourable sport, isn't it?
Yeah, I won expert in every one.
Did you?
Yeah. But no, it's well good. A lot of old boys do it as well that are just unbelievable.
Yeah.
They're unbelievable riders.
Yeah, they are.
It's not that exerting. It's just technique.
Yeah.
And I've got zero technique. But yeah, it's cool to just be terrible at something, and every time you go, you feel like you've taken something away from it.
Yeah.
And especially with the lads I do it with, the Suffolk lot, and then the Stroggy and the Hockenalls and that. I think we're all in quite a similar boat of just learning and just having a wicked time, getting stuck in rivers.
Yeah, it's cool. Like you say, it's something totally new as well to like throw your hand at and give it a shot, innit? I need to get on that program, to be honest. I do need one. The thing I struggle with here is at home I don't have a garage, so like I have to keep buying toys down to a minimum, because if it doesn't fit in the house, it's a bit of a nightmare.
They're no bigger than a sheep, a trials bike.
Yeah, we do have sheep as well.
Get it through the door.
Yeah, we do have sheep, so we reckon
stick it in the pen.
Can get one in. Oh man, yeah, need to get on that program. What made you buy a trials bike?
just because mates were getting them.
Yeah.
Really.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, and they're just cheap. Like doing it's cheap as well. But anyway, we'll probably talk about it. I could talk about it forever. And I don't know anything about it.
Some mountain bikers were legit trials riders. Like Warner is legit on a trials bike. Petey's really good. I've heard. I don't know, but Petey's apparently really good. And I've got a few friends up here that are natural mountain bikers because they've come from a trials background, because they just have that balance. They have the body positioning. It teaches a lot of lessons, I think, when it comes to transitioning over into mountain biking.
Sam Dale and Matt Hockers are handy. For our group, they're all handy.
Bro, the Hockenals can do anything. It's really annoying, isn't it?
Isn't it? Yeah.
Like anything.
Have you hung out with them much?
Enough to know that anything that they do they're just really good at it.
10 out of 10, yeah.
It's like football, mountain biking, like moto, trials, just anything.
Yeah. I think Dave, especially, or Sam, the youngest one, he's in like the Cade sort of crew, like not crew, but like that cohort of riders that are just untappable style. Like,
totally.
I'm well envious.
No, mate, those guys are killing
unbelievable.
It. Yeah. That like new breed that's coming through, like you say, you've got like Cade, Dave, that like 50 to 1, you've got like Samco. Is it Samco Fano? Yeah. All that little crew, man. They all just seem to just vibe off each other, and that new breed of riders coming through is insane. So cool.
Watch them all day. They're the bollocks.
Yeah, definitely.
Well good.
Yeah. What I want to go back a little bit, man. Interesting stuff. Yeah. What's your first memory of riding? And when did you first get into mountain biking? And because I think we spoke about this on the lockdown thing, but I remember you from Four-Cross. I remember seeing you at some Four-Cross events. Yeah.
We did a couple of BMX races.
Right.
Because there was a Milton Keynes. There is a BMX track in Milton Keynes. It's not very good. It's like it's a flat one.
Right.
But it's a place to go and do it. And we discovered Woburn. Then got BMXs, which is probably the wrong bike choice, but it meant that we could go and do these BMX races. And your parents don't know, like they didn't have any biking experience. So maybe it was because there was a BMX track.
Right.
We got them, but then spent all our time at Woburn where everyone had mountain bikes. But regardless, that's my first competitive memory is at Pine and BMX track in Milton Keynes. And then, but then just Woburn for mountain biking.
Really?
Relentlessly, yeah.
Woburn looks insane at the moment. I mean, it's always been good. I've been, the last time I went was probably, to be honest, man, it's probably 10 years ago since I last went.
Dirt jumps of fire. Sam Johnson, who's like king, like spades on Instagram, but he's like real sick rider. Amazing style. Cause I think when he used to compete, you'd win a competition out of style.
Right.
They might do like a no-hander or no-footer, but you'd win a dirt wars or whatever.
So he's a little older then, right? How old is he? 'Cause I don't know him.
I'd say he's mid-30s.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah.
It makes me feel real old now. Thanks. 33.
Yeah. Right, he's older than that. But no, he did a lot for us up there because the jumps were all real big, and he'd say there was a big landing. The dirt jump, he'd like build a tabletop across it for me and Matt to sort of ride, and just he was quite influential, especially for Matt with his trails riding in the style in a big way. So that they gave us access to sort of learn to jump up at Woburn, which is a wicked place. The dirt jumps are unbelievable. The hill it's like 10 Rizzler papers tall. It's tiny.
Yeah.
So for me, getting to downhill from there is probably weird, but I think because it is such a small hill, there'd be like a track of 3 or 4 corners, so you just hit them all really hard, rather than I don't know what another, like just if you're in Wales and you've got big downhill tracks, you can kind of just meander down them, can't you? Because it's like so long and fun. But for us, we'd like sprint for half the hill, and then there'd be 2 corners.
And just make the most of those 2 corners.
Whacking them, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if that answers your question, but...
No, it
Yeah.
sort of does. I'm just curious to know like where it all started and where it came from, really. And then, I mean, the evolution of Woburn is almost similar to the evolution of your and Matt's career. I feel like it's like you've grown at the same time. I might be wrong, but
Yeah. I'll tell you another difference is he loves digging and he's good at it, and I hate it. So he fit quite well into the dirt jump scene where you like, no dig, no ride, you build what you want to ride. And I'd sort of skid up on the hill, and then when I could see they'd started to ride a new jump, I'd like find my way back into the queue. Jump community as he was, but he just got good at dirt jumping quick. He got actually a skate park BMX when we were probably 14 or something, and flipped it at Corby Skate Park on the Resi.
Right.
So I think that I don't know if we spoke about this last time, but that gave him like a real grip on the whole trick scene.
Right. Yeah.
Because he's in there, he's done a backflip, which at the time was a really big deal. Which it still is, but like there's no double flips really. And I just loved whacking corners. But then at the time, all we competed in was four cross. So for me, we'd both get pretty shitty gates at the start, but then I might like inside everyone in the first turn, but then that'd be like real good at pumping like the rhythm straight. So I think we just took quite well to what we enjoyed and what we became good at. But Woburn did facilitate all of that.
Yeah.
I just had to travel a bit further to compete.
Yeah. Interesting, man, isn't it? How you even as brothers and stuff, growing up together, similar, obviously same upbringing and stuff, how you just went in totally different ways. I find it so interesting that Matt went down that side of things and you went down the racing side of things. But did you see, when you started with the racing, like, did you see it as a career, or how were you looking at it? Because you said obviously you were putting off going to uni, for example. Was it in the hunt of the career, or
like I loved it. It was, you travel in the world, going to races with quite a small community that all know each other, and I think it had scope to be a career, and that was enough for me to run with it, because you don't, especially as a junior, like you're 17. I did my first up in Val di Sole in Italy, or South Africa maybe. Val di Sole in Italy as like a 17-year-old.
Yeah.
And you, at that age, you're not thinking like, right, is this going to pay the bills? Is it going to work out long term? You're just like, I'm racing a World Cup. What's going on? I've never seen routes this big. There's a gondola.
Yeah, you don't have to push up.
They're really caught up in the excitement of it, as opposed to thinking about the bottom line, really.
Yeah. How did you end up doing World Cups as well then? Did you do much British stuff to get the points? How did that?
Yeah, I was really late to the party with downhill. I got into it second year of youth,
right,
which is the category that comes before junior. So I was like 15 or 16. And yeah, did a couple of local ones like at Aston Hill, then did a Jesus Cup in mid Wales, and then internationals.
Right.
Not internationals, I got into nationals.
International, right.
Which, gave me, I didn't have points, it was jerseys at the time for me. So you'd get like, British Cycling would send a few juniors and elites riding in the national colours that didn't qualify using the points mechanism or being on a proper team.
Yeah.
Kind of like as a backdoor in, which is cool that they do that. They actually I think they keep reducing the number of riders that can do that. And the criteria becomes harder, but Real gave me access to go and do it. And there was a guy called Paul Miles at the time that worked for the Giant factory team. Mechanics for Danny Hart and then Andrew Needling in that team, and he was fairly local to me and gave me an unbelievable amount of support. And when I went to the races, I'd be in a different practice to Needles or Danny, so when they finished, he'd like nip round the back of the tent and fix my mech and stuff like that.
Sick. That's cool.
So I was really lucky to have him. He did a massive amount for me.
Yeah. So who are you riding for at that point?
Transition.
Yeah.
Bike.
Yeah. Okay. good deal, or was it still a lot like from yourself, like funded out your own pocket to get places? Like how?
It was good. For the big international thing, I don't think it quite provided enough.
Yeah.
Like at the end of the day, you can sell your bikes and that help, but that comes that's like in arrears by that
At
point,
the end,
isn't it?
yeah.
Like yeah. So my parents did help
Yeah.
for those big events, which I was lucky for.
Yeah.
But then, yeah, I think they could see that Matt and I were picking up a bit of momentum, and there's not. Well, I guess the difference is there wasn't a junior category there. So, as a 17-year-old, you're racing against all these massive blokes.
Mm.
Like everyone's just all in one pool, so it's really hard to shine because you didn't have your own podium, you didn't have your own results. You just, in the result list, there'd be a little circle next to all the juniors' names. And I remember at the end of the race, you'd count the circles, and that's where you came in junior.
In junior, right? Yeah. Wow.
But it didn't matter. Like, it was just elite men.
Yeah. Yeah.
But obviously, because you race in junior back in the UK and in the local countries, that's what matters. You're like, I came 40th, but that's second in junior. So what they've done now in bringing the junior category in is really good. Like, it gives them a step to shine, and then I guess the teams can select riders from that.
Mm.
So that would have been good if I had it back then, because I think I was always sort of top 3, which now would be really good.
Mm.
But all it meant was like 45th, which kind of take the edge off. I know that's a World Cup. It's like, well, yeah, what does that do
it's still
from a sponsor's
insane.
point of view?
Yeah.
Yeah, but from a sponsor's point of view, like for Transition's point of view, yeah, I'm there. Instagram was probably just started. So all there really was the race and then the write-up at the end of the weekend. And that really is like a mid-pack result. So they weren't getting a lot from you like they are now from the juniors.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah, definitely. So you feel like it could have been totally different had there been a junior category? You could have... Don't know, did you lose like a bit of momentum with it at all? Like, was it a bit like, fucking hell, going out and getting 45th?
No, I don't know. Like,
it's kind of hard.
People that I was competing against, like Bruni and Richie Rude, and who else? Mike Jones was my age.
Right.
We'd all be sort of here about in the same spot, and then so they were in the same boat. They didn't have a junior podium, but they made it work. So it's by no means because of that. I just think that's now a really good opportunity for juniors to show their speed, you know?
Yeah, totally. And
would have been nice.
It's good for sponsors too, because it just outlines, they're in that category, and you can start selecting people for the big leagues as they come through. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, interesting. So, what year was that when you so that was like Instagram was just starting to pop off? So what, we're talking 16, 17, or way earlier?
As a junior, no, 2012.
Oh, fucking hell, really? Yeah, jeez.
Junior
God,
world
time
champ.
goes fast. Okay.
In 2012 as a junior at Leogang.
Okay.
Broke my collarbone in my race run on a borrowed bike. I broke my bike.
Oh.
And had to borrow Will Longdon's Saracen, which was gnarly.
Yeah, super
gnarly. Yeah, he's funny. He'd like, so British cycling, that was the one event you felt like you were a celebrity. Like and I hope they still do it. I'm not sure. I think they've sort of reduced some of the support, but at the time, you'd all go off together in your national like colours and your tracksuits, roll in together and stay in a nice place, and there'll be a real team mentality, and it's like a national team. It doesn't matter what bike sponsor you rode for or whatever.
Mm.
In the evenings and in the mornings and on track walk, it was all like a pack. And Will Longdon was sort of like, did a lot from an organisation perspective, but he was a real like mentor and coach for us all as well.
Okay.
Because he's got the experience, and we're just like little kids that just
frothing.
Like, we don't know if we're like chasing after girls or if we're going to have to do a race, and it's like, have you heard there might be a party at the end of it and stuff like that. It's just like you're in this crazy place. So he was like, he's real mentor, but I went up on his bike in the driest of conditions at Leogang, and there's like a big motorway section like there still is. And I remember hearing that there might be a storm on race day.
Right.
And I was like a 4-cross racer that had done sort of 2 years of downhill. And when I raced in the wet, like you'd never prep for it.
Yeah.
I didn't know how to change your tyre. You just do it. So I was thinking, right, this is serious now. This is world champ. Like I need to be able to do a tear off. I just remember getting it stuck in my head. I'm gonna have to do a tear off, which was a huge deal. So I remember prepping my goggles with tear offs in the dry, like 2 days before finals, and going up. And there was a big tabletop on this motorway, and in the bone dryer came over it. I was like, sick. I'm gonna do like a Bren dog. You see it in all the film. Pull a tear off in the air, and I grabbed all of them at the same time and a big goggle. Pulled my goggles like off my face. Missed the bar when I landed, and just turned off into the grass, went over the bars and landed with my neck on an electric fence, and got the shock of a lifetime. Like it almost paralysed me, and got to the bottom, and I was like so sort of shocked, literally, no pun intended, by the whole ordeal. I told Will Longdon, I was like, I've just tried to do a tear off, and this is what happened. And he absolutely bollocked me. He was like, this is not the sort of place you should be doing that. Like, this is serious. This is world champs. And I was there trying to be serious. But no, it was well funny.
Man. Pulling tear offs used to be the thing when I was young as well. I used to love styling out a tear off pull over a big dirty jump. Motor jump, of course.
Still don't have to do it. You don't have to take your hand off when you're riding, do you?
No. That's classic.
I never mastered it.
Oh man, classic, man. So what? How many years did you spend, or have you spent racing World Cup then? Have you done pretty much almost every year since? Because honestly, man, I honestly don't really know. Like, did you take a whole bunch of time out through uni, or?
I probably didn't miss one from the start of 2012 to the end of 2015, probably.
Right. Yeah.
So like 4 years, 12, 13, 14, 15, 4 years of all of them. And then since then, like, I don't even know what my last one was. I've not done them recently. No, I have.
Well, 2019, did you do some?
Yeah, I went to Maribor last year, and oh god, I'm not bitter, but I crossed the line in 60th for quali, and it was a year it rained real hard for qualifying.
Yeah.
So it was a lottery, excuse me. And 60 qualify now. So I remember I went there with Brendan and Deeks and a few others, and they'd all done their quali, and I came down in the national jersey and crossed the line in 60th and knocked Greg Minar out, actually.
Right.
He was doing an interview on Red Bull, and I remember watching it. I crossed the line and knocked him out of the quali group. Kind of felt bad, actually, but he'd have had a bad run. And then it ended, and I'd come 60th. I was like, I'm back. I'm racing finals. I was well buzzing. And then I heard that someone got red flagged. And for people who don't know, like, if there's a big crash or something's blocking the track during timed runs and qualifying and finals, they'll put a red flag out, and it's a bit like Formula One.
Okay.
The riders will have to stop because basically someone's injured. Normally. So the people that are on track at that time get reruns because they haven't been able to complete a full run in fair condition. And at this point, the sun's coming out, and I'm sat in 60th, and they were faffing about, and it probably was like an hour before they went down, and one of them knocked me into 61st when they came back down. Now, I think it was Matt Simmons or something.
Okay.
So you'd probably argue that he'd, under good conditions, maybe have beaten me anyway, you know? So it's like...
level playing field, though.
I had a taste of being back in, and all the boys were buzzing, and we were all going to be able to practice together. And that's the last one I did.
Right.
So next year, I'm going to go and do them again.
Oh, I was going to ask you, so what... Yeah, I mean, one of the biggest questions would be, like, what's the future hold? And what's 2020 been like as well? Did you have plans to do any or not?
I did, yeah. And I'm on Pivot now, which they've got an unbelievable downhill bike.
Yeah.
But when coronavirus happened in March, it felt like, especially later on in the summer, there was just going to be no racing. So I went for 2 weeks to Morzine with some mates and had an unreal time. And then, bearing in mind, I've only get so much holiday now. So I took a big chunk there and then planned to do Trans Madeira. So when the World Cup sort of got announced, I didn't have the holiday basically.
Right.
But Transmadeira was the bollocks.
Dude, I bet. You're like one of the few people as well, which is really cool, that's managed to travel and actually go on a mountain biking holiday, right? So you hit up Morzine. You say Morzine, didn't you? And also you managed to do Transmadeira. So winning the Corona lottery a little bit, to be honest with you. You managed to get out.
Portugal was on the naughty list, but Madeira is a Portuguese island, but it wasn't.
Okay.
It was so far from Portugal. It's basically in the Canary Islands, like it's a long way down. So it was fine to go there. You didn't have to quarantine and things.
Yeah. So what are work like then with this whole thing? Like, are they, obviously you're in the corporate world now, but are they like, I don't know, is anyone there sort of on your page? Like, they understand that you're going to take a bit more time to go and do this, or?
Yeah, my boss is real supportive of it. He's a legend.
Is he? Cool.
But like, my holiday's my holiday, so I just use it all for going and doing biking events, really.
Do you think that career, like, could it hold you back, or do you know what I'm thinking? Like, do you ever think, like, if it got a little bit more serious, like, surely a full World Cup schedule is going to be more holiday than 4 weeks?
Yeah, I won't do them all.
Okay,
I can't.
You do some Euro ones and stuff.
Yeah, or anywhere. Maybe just pick the ones that I can do or I would like to do. Okay. Like, I'm not, when I say I'm going to go and race World Cup, by no means I'm going to go and try and be the best in the world. I just want to go and do well again, really, and enjoy it for what it is.
Yeah.
Which is nice to have that perspective on it now. It's like, they're cool events. The best events, though, like World Cups are the pinnacle of downhill racing, but the weekend events that you do loads of riding on, like, or the week long. So Mega Avalanche should be on every mountain biker's bucket list. Yeah. The abilities are there. You get a lot of riding in for not a lot of money. It's like €70 for a lift pass for the week. You do a race. No matter where you qualify, you'll get a race. I think that should be on everyone's bucket list. That's a brilliant event. That's in outdoors. Yep. Have you done it?
I haven't done it, no. A bunch of my friends went and did it a few years ago, but I didn't go and do it. Should do. Definitely, if it's on next year, this year, whatever, next year. I'd like to go and do that. Definitely.
Like the hard rocks and things like that, where you just get loads of time on your bike, on an enduro bike. I'm a big advocate for those events. They're brilliant.
Crankworks, stuff like that as well. I think the last time I saw you out at Crankworks, Leger, I think, 2018 or 17, one of them.
Yeah, they're less accessible for just your normal Joe blogs, but for us guys, there's a lot of events to do there, which is really cool.
Definitely.
And also a big, you get the slopestyle boys, you get the downhill boys, you get the sort of in the middle lads. So there's a lot of fun at those weeks.
What's Transmadeira like? Because it looks incredible, but I don't really know much about it. Like, how does that happen? How does it come around for you as well, being an athlete? Because I see you get invited, all that sort of stuff. Like, how does that work?
Yeah, so Brendan's real tight with those guys because he's done so many big projects there. Yeah. For like Death Grip and Dog's Life and stuff. So he knows those guys from Freeride Madeira really well. And we went in just before lockdown in March. And what are you having?
Cheese.
Hey, Adam.
What's up, bro? He won't be able to hear me though, will he?
Yeah, no. He looks like a tosser, doesn't he? Yeah. What was I saying? Yeah, so they invited Bren and I to go and do the event, I think off the back of chatting about it when we were on holiday there for Freeride Madeira.
Right, okay.
And never look back. The riding on that island is just...
It looks incredible.
Yeah, it's unparalleled, I'd say.
Yeah.
They call it like the 4 seasons, so you can do one track. It will start in really exposed rock, go through like what feels like, it is a rainforest, then a really wet section of woodland and loam, and then you finish down by a beach.
Amazing.
Yeah. And we'll drop out in the race. We'd start in a cloud, piss wet through, and finish bone dry at the end of that one trail. Whoa. Maybe it's 10 minutes long, but honestly, dusty dry.
Yeah.
a wet gooch. It's unreal.
And that, as a race, what's it like? Is it a race vibe or is it a bit more chill? I don't really know anything about it, to be honest, other than you see amazing content from it.
Quite chilled, I'd say, because it's quite an expensive event
Okay.
to enter and go and do, because they provide you with so much. Like you get 5 days shuttling and accommodation and whatever. So I think that tailors for more of the sort of for riders that have the ability to go and do that, and it's probably like a special trip as opposed to going there to get a result.
Yeah.
Get a few of us that are like
more of an experience.
Yeah, which is absolutely is. Like you won't ride anywhere like that in your life unless you go there.
Yeah.
So yeah, from a race perspective, like everyone has a few beers in the evenings, and it's not that serious. But then for Bren and I, it was 100% serious.
Did you have a bet going on and stuff?
This bet, exactly this, which I don't want to leave behind. I just keep shaving it back in. It's not as bad now. But yeah, good.
Yeah, it's cool. I like that shit. I know last time we were talking about the flip bet at Hardline. It's a classic story, man.
Yeah.
£100 flip bet, right?
Yeah, still tried it.
Definitely
The
committed
problem
to
I've got is I'll definitely do Hardline next year. But like, what do I do? That's such a dilemma with that jump.
Okay.
Because I can flip it, like I can backflip. But if I do it again and crash, then I'm a clown. More of a clown than I already am. And if I do it again and I land it, then it's like, oh.
Does the nickname go if you land it there? Or are you into the Scorpion King nickname? Like,
yeah, I'm well into it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know what to do about that. I think that's the end of my hardline flip career. But I get so hyper when everyone's there. Like, we'll see what happens.
Dude, I really want to check that event out next year. To be honest, that's one that's definitely on my radar just to go and hang out at.
Yeah.
You know, just go and check it out. Cause I've never been there. I really want to go and just hang out and see what it's all about. It just looks like the most fun. Maybe not for you guys at times, but definitely just to go and hang out and see what it's all about.
Yeah, it's funny. Like it's quite a split vibe. There's a few lads, G and Bernard, and that are there to win and get a decent amount of prize money and defend their crown, if you like. There's like quite a few of us that are quite happy if practice get rained off and stuff. It's a brilliant event. Fair play to the organisers and that. The course is unfathomably terrifying. More so in person as well.
Yeah, I can imagine. If it looks big on TV, like you were saying about G's edit, like if it looks big on a screen, like it's fucking big in real life.
Yeah.
What's the gnarliest feature on there?
The one that scared me the most is the road gap.
Is it? Yeah.
And it's really easy.
Right.
Like, you roll in from here, that's your speed. You can see the landing just about, because you can kind of see it off the sides. So you can gauge your pull. The landing's really gnarly, because you do land real hard, like pedals hit the floor, and then you try not to lock up for a big berm.
Okay.
But it's really easy. Like, if you put a blind guy on a unicycle and set him off with the right speed, he'd land on the landing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Don't do that. It'd be really nasty. But so from that perspective, it's like real easy. But the consequences, if it went wrong, for me, I couldn't get that out of my head. Like, if you case it, you'd obliterate your bike and your body. If you went too long, you wouldn't stop for the corner. I was real scared of pedaling. So the lads, when you're racing, they'll come around the corner before, pedal down it to generate speed, and scrub it hard, like brake check. But I was like, I'm not putting a pedal within 15 metres of that thing, because what if a chain comes off or my gears slip or I clip out?
Yeah.
I was definitely in the wrong mindset to race it, but I think going back there again and knowing the layout of the track and having less panic about learning all the features will be a lot better. But that's the scare. The cannon coming out of the trees at the top, scary.
Okay.
It's just big. But yeah, everything else is all right, really.
Yeah. I remember watching practice footage and seeing a bunch of people overshoot. There's like a hip on it, like a pretty big hip jump.
Yeah.
People overshooting
The
that
right
as well.
hip.
Yeah, the right hip. It looks like the most fun jump ever, but a lot of people
when we were
overshooting
practicing, it's cool because you'll practice your way down together on the first few days, and like G and Bernard and that's super helpful with getting all the speed right for everyone. But it's such a big jump, that hip. You're in the air for ages, and a few of us, me included, got a bit bucked. But by no means on a normal jump would that be a buck. It only takes like a few newtons of force on your back wheel, and you're like teetering, because you're in the air for that long. It's just massive over the bars.
100%.
But setting your bike up's weird there. Like, you've got to have your tyres hard so that they don't sort of deform on the lips, which makes you go all squirrely.
Yeah, you know what? We had Sam Reynolds on the Lockdown Companion, and he was talking about that. Yeah. Super interesting, man. About they were running extra inner tubes and tyres to try and stop that like little bit of bob. It was super interesting.
Yeah.
So you set it up super stiff then, basically, like a supercross bike.
Within reason, yeah, because the jumps are so serious. Like, you don't want to get bucked. You need your bike to work on the jumps, like a supercross dilemma. But then from Hardline's perspective, you've got these really, really gnarly bits between, which as a viewer, you're not focusing on because it's all about the big features. But the bits between the features, the dirt there is really savage. Like, if it's a bit wet, it's real, the wrong type of sticky, like it'll clog your tyres up and just your tyres don't work.
Okay.
Plus your tyres are hard and your suspension's hard. So you're kind of like setting your bike up wrong, because the jumps, if you broke down the jump, the time that you're on those big features, it's probably less than 10% of the course. And yet you're weighting your setup like 90% towards those features. So it's a tough one. I don't know what I'd do next year. I think I don't really have a choice. It depends how they build the course again, but like, that's just what you've got to do, and you've got to deal with the other bits between.
Totally. Are you almost like, are you in as a, because you've done it before, you like, is that how it works? Is it like a guest list sort of thing?
Good question. I hope I'll be in, yeah. Yeah, I think so.
I'm sure you will. Man of the match at 2000, the other one.
Yeah, all the wrong reasons.
I'm sure you're in. What, do you fancy any of the Fest stuff? I feel like that's got a bit of your name on it.
Yeah, I've never been to one. I would do. Yeah, definitely would. But like, I'm not like a real stylish rider and stuff, so I'd only be there to hit the gaps.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be there to like get a sick picture, Leave that to like chaos and Kade and things.
I think that's a pretty good attitude, though, to be honest.
Oh yeah, just to jump them would be sick.
Yeah, I remember like some of the 50-1 guys went and did. I can't remember which one it was. Did they go to Nico's maybe? And they just rode them. I know like Bryce looked super stylish, but some of the other guys were just there just to get over, like just to do it. I know like Craig went and rode them. Craig Evans, a few others. I can't remember if there was too much footage.
Oh yeah, I remember that. It was a few years ago.
It was, yeah. They
How sick is it when the motorbikes are riding through with them?
So cool, especially when it's someone like Tyler Berryman, who's just super stylish. Did you watch what's it called now? Tyler Berryman's latest edit, the Red Bull one. Envision, is it called? Inspiration? Oh, something like. Dude, check that out. It's so good. They basically gave him like his own playground, and he could build whatever he wanted to build. And it took ages to build it, but dude, and then they invited all of like some of the top guys. So like Ryan Sipes was there. They had, I'm trying to think, Cole Seeley. Everyone went and just rode this like course that Tyler Berryman had like. I'm sure it was called Imagine or something like that. Super cool, man. Such a good edit.
I did lose you there.
Oh, sorry.
I got the message. Yeah. No, I'm back. It's all good. Is that what you'd do if you could do any sport?
Me personally.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think I'd get. I kind of like the. Like our mountain biking as well. We've got these like pockets of people that are making a good living off making cool content. And I mean, doing not really racing. They're not really freestyle. They're just like making a living out of just making cool stuff and hitting jumps and free ride basically. I think that's what, if I had the option, I'd definitely go towards that, because I'm kind of similar to you. Although I love racing, I don't like the clock side of it, so I definitely wouldn't go for the downhill stuff. All the downhill races I've ever done in my lifetime have been a shit show, because I just can't get my head around that one run thing. It's just a nightmare.
But would you do that in mountain biking or motocross? Scrambling,
I reckon.
Yeah?
I reckon. Yeah, I think so. I think if I had a choice, I think that's what I'd do. Yeah. Don't really know why. Equally, it's cool to me. Like, either the free ride sort of mountain bike side or the free ride moto side. To me, it's like equally as cool. It's kind of like, I feel like I always, now sort of look up to like Ollie's sort of, what would you call it, sort of like view on riding, how he's not really into the fast stuff, and like, it's not all about going fast or anything like that. He just does it to enjoy riding his bike. And honestly, like, for me, it's in some ways reinstilled my love for mountain biking recently, if that makes sense. Because like, you just get that vibe off him that he just loves just going out and riding his bike just for the sake of going out and riding your bike. And when you're not training for anything, or you're not really racing against the clock or anything like that, I've really enjoyed just riding for the sake of riding recently. And why not just throw whips on one jump for one day, for a whole day, or just ride, like you were saying, like ride 3 corners. Why not just do that for the day? If that's what you like doing, just do that. And I feel like maybe the rise of social media and stuff like that, maybe has that made it more acceptable to just do that. I don't know, but hunting for clips and stuff is kind of fun sometimes. Well, I don't do it that often. Like, it is kind of fun. I don't have many friends that are like that, you see, to be honest. A lot of my friends are sort of from a race background, so they want to go out or do like mass miles in the Peak District. We don't really, a lot of mine aren't really into that, like just going and sessioning one jump for an hour sort of thing, which is what I'm into. So, I don't know.
Fair play.
Do you feel like you're in like the perfect spot for you at the moment then?
Like I'm actually real buzzing on racing again.
Really?
Like
do you need that then? Like, do you need that goal to be headed towards?
Yeah, I want to do more of it. And especially now I feel like I'm not stressed out with the racing element of racing, if you know what I mean. I feel like I've got that fire in my belly again. How I use that and what it means is yet to be said, but it's nice not to, I don't want to use the word resent, but it's nice to not fear racing, and the nervousness around the not getting a result. I don't care now. Like, I'm like a sponsored rider and get support to do so, but the people that support me aren't wedded to results.
Which is
so
cool.
So I'm really buzzing to race again.
And with you being on pivot, then do you go and like pit out of Bernard's setup?
Yeah, he's real cool with that. Like, we'll pit out the side of him, basically. Or like when we went to Maribor, just got a hire from that. Thing going on that, it's cool.
Yeah, sorry. It does keep going every now and again. I'm sorry.
Just the video though.
Yeah, just the video goes. The audio's fine. Real weird.
The audio is what matters, I think.
Yes, the audio is what matters. So
But what were we saying? Yeah. So am I in the perfect spot? Yeah, I'm well happy riding and stuff. Like, I'm not. I don't feel like I'm forced to do anything. I can just, a bit like what Ollie says. Like, he doesn't like the racing, but I do. Yeah. So I'm going to go and do that. But
there's no pressure to go and do that. No one's like banking on a result. It's not like there's an added pressure of like, you got to come home with this, or when it comes to contract time, it's not going to look good. So
yeah, but I'd still need to produce like the content side of it, because that's the world that we live in now. But I'm in a really good place with it. I think it's cool. I'm not doing the vlogging thing with YouTube. Talk to
me about that, man. I think that's super interesting, because you're obviously so close to it as well, in a way, because your brother's doing that. What's your view on it? And what's your view on vlogging in general, and what's your view on like how Matt's career's gone in that direction?
I don't know really. How do I answer this? Some people are naturals for it, and they've found a talent within themselves to present and to make things engaging, and that shows in the views that they get. You know, they're not getting really good views, these people, because they're vlogging. They're getting good views because they're good at it.
Yeah.
And I really, really enjoy being part of those videos. Okay. When I go and do it with Matt, and when I go and do it with Bren, or if Deeks is doing one, I love it. Like, I'm not camera shy, and whatever. But there's a lot of groundwork that goes into sort of making things entertaining and making things engaging behind the scenes. So for someone like me that's got their evenings in the summer and then their weekends all year round to have fun, but also to meet some obligations of going to race or producing some vids and stuff, I don't really want to be spending all my time planning to produce a video and video myself talking about something that's fairly rehearsed. And yeah, they'll have a lot of fun doing it, but it's like, it's a job.
Dude, it's a hustle. Like, yeah, a hustle. And I think I can relate in a weird kind of way, because I know how much work goes in even into this podcast. Like, I know that there's 90% of what people, out of 100% of what people listen to, they only hear 10% of the effort, if that makes sense. It's like 90% of everything else goes on behind the scenes that no one really gets to see.
Yeah.
And I think it's probably the same with the vlogging. Like, that is a grind. Like, the editing and the, you know, even down to the uploading and, like you said, the planning and everything that goes into that is fucking hard work, man. And that's why I think I've become, over time, like, I've got way more respect for someone like Deeks, who pumps out content, and like Sam Pilgrim. Like, fuck, dude, there's so much effort going into creating that amount of content at that level as well. Like you said, like, the reason people are watching is because it's good. And to make it good means a lot of work.
Yeah, exactly. So from my perspective, they can do all the work, and then I'll go and film it with them, because that's the fun part.
Yeah, just do the cameo bits.
Me. So I know that there's revenue to be had, and it's lucrative if you're good at it, but if I was to start like a proper YouTube channel, I don't have the time or the experience to make it good at the beginning. I'm going to throw a load of weekends away trying to get it off the ground. Probably going to have to pay someone to film it and edit it, because I don't have the time with my normal work. So then what am I doing at that point? Like,
yeah. And what's the reason for it? Yeah, totally.
Yeah,
totally.
Like, I'm trying to fulfill the needs of the viewer and really detracting from what I'm still enjoying, which is just racing or riding or picking and choosing what I do based on the events that are on.
Yeah, yeah.
Who's going where, rather than, you know, there's algorithms and things that they need to meet, and it's like a video over 10 minutes, do 3 a week. Like, I'm not going to fit that bill, and I know that, and I'm more than happy to join in on other people's ones, really.
Yeah,
but no, it's an admirable skill, and people are making it really work, which is cool.
Yeah,
it gives us something to watch. Like, I don't really watch them, but if you go into a school now and ask what the kids want to be, they'll all say YouTubers. That's a fact. Like, you know, I think I wanted to be Fireman Sam or something, because YouTube didn't really exist. It was Charlie Bit My Finger was the only video, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And now you've got like scooter riders doing 500 tail whips onto an airbag.
Yep. Yeah. It's I watched Matt's actually the other day, just because I was curious about that new Marin e-bike. I bike geeked out, which is really rare for me, actually. I don't do that very often, but I was curious what he thought to it. And it was cool because he said, like, I think the video had like, let's say 100,000 downloads already. And he said something along the lines of like how most people who watch his channel are mountain bikers, and I was like, fuck, that's like really interesting that he said that. Like, who's watching it? People that is, you know, maybe that shows that Matt's so engaging with those, and those videos are that good quality that people who don't even ride are start watching it, which is really cool.
That's a big thing. It's the personality aspect of people. I think it's not friends. You don't become friends with them, but you become like, they are engaging human beings, aren't they? So you like. You're engaged in what they're doing, whether you like the sport or not. I spoke to my boss about it at work, about YouTube and stuff. He said he watches like this remote control car YouTuber,
Right.
I don't really care about that stuff, but it's just the guy's really engaging.
Yeah.
That's a interesting part of it, and I think the ones that have made it work are the engaging ones, and that's probably to your point. Like their viewer base isn't just the sport that they do. It's people that just like them.
Yeah, definitely. And I do often think that as well when you see someone's video. I mean, again, Matt or Sam Pilgrim, a video in a week's got like 500,000 views, and you're just like, is there even 500,000 mountain bikers? I don't know.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Yeah. That's big numbers as well. Like, scary numbers. Really scary numbers. I don't know how I deal with that pressure either, to be honest with you, knowing that many people. I struggle with this, and this is, a tenth of that. And it still freaks me out a lot of the time.
Yeah.
So imagine having 500,000 people watching your shit. Whoa, scary. But like you say, pretty lucrative. It's becoming a good business for people if you can do it right. I heard Matt so rich he didn't even water muck off down anymore. He's that rich. He's just he uses full bottles.
I can't comment on that. But what great cleaner.
Yeah, exactly, man. Great cleaner. Oh dear. One thing I was going to ask, and I wrote this question down in a sort of Tim Ferriss way, would be like, if you had a piece of if you could say something to Matt, like a piece of advice, what would you say, like, to your brother? Is there anything that you see and you just like, don't do this, dude, or go and do this instead? Kind of a weird question, but I'm just curious what you'd say.
Yeah. Tough one to answer, really. Like, it's hard because I've seen him change a lot through becoming a bigger name and things, but that's not to his detriment at all.
Yeah.
That's just, he is a higher profile person now. He does more things. He gets involved in big projects. And probably what that means is I just see him less. It's not any different. But like, we have probably got a different view on what riding is now, because he's got a fiance, a house and a dog, and he needs to support that. And this is the way he's doing it. So it's weird. People like, you can talk about people that get successful in a sport, and it's like, yeah, but he just does it because it's a job now. It's like, well, yeah, of course they do. Like, that is their job now.
That's the job now, yeah.
And if
it's
he
a
wasn't
good job
doing it the way he was now, then he'd be doing something else. So I've not answered your question yet, have I? What would I say to him? I'd say keep doing what you're doing. It's sick. But then I'd love for him to take some time to step back and do some stuff that he really enjoys, which is real hard for what he's doing at the moment, because he fills all of his time with projects and he's passionate about them and he's extremely good at them. So like, the time will come, I hope, when he steps back and he thinks, that was a wicked ride. Now I'm going to go and dig a shitty jump of the woods and just play on it,
Yeah, definitely. No, man, that's really good.
I don't think I've answered the question at all, Davey.
No, you have, I think. It's a good way, because you see it so differently to everybody else on the planet. Like, you've seen that whole thing play out in a different way to everyone else. And, you're probably the closest person to you for most of your life. So you see it happen and, watch how it is playing out.
He's got a massive amount of demand on his time and his resources and things. It's like, you get pulled in a lot of directions. But my hours are quite long at work, but I don't think his brain will ever switch off from the things he's got going on.
Yeah.
Because that's his whole world. Whereas for me, biking can escape my day job.
Yeah, I like that you do that, man. I really find it admirable that you go to London and you have almost like I think you called it before, like a split life almost. So what do your housemates and friends in London think to what you do? It must be real strange. It's literally like you're hanging out with someone in the week who at the weekend goes and plays professional football. You'd be like, what? But you go and do like the highest level of a sport almost as a bit of a pastime.
But like, if I watch football with my mates that like football, something will happen with the ball and they'll all stand up. no one scored, but it's like someone did something sick. If I feel like I've done something sick on a bike, they don't know that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just some kid wearing weird clothes. What is bike like race kit to just someone who buys like jeans from Top Man? They're just wearing really bright pajamas, leathering their way down a hill, and probably out of a massive crash. So they're just like, I think they just think it's weird, but they're like all for it. But I don't think they can tap into it. But then, like you say, his fan base is a lot of non-bikers, and they must see something. But maybe it's they're just learning. But yeah, they don't really care. Yeah,
it's cool though. It must. I bet for you it keeps the energy of mountain biking quite high. Like it's still it's almost like I don't mean it's a hobby, but it almost must feel like that, because I know like throughout some of my life, you never get out of that bubble of everyone you know does that thing and they're interested in that thing. And I think a lot of my life right now is like that, to be honest with you, dude. Like I don't have many friends outside of this industry, like mountain biking and the outdoor industry and action sports in general. So like for you can go away and re-energize and come back to it, and those friends are still, do you know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I do really like that actually, Davey. It's nice to have the two worlds. But like I've probably spent 1, maybe 2 weekends in London in my life.
Right.
Just like renting a place here. Like I'll always go home. My bike's at my parents. Go from there off to Wales or wherever it may be. So it's flat out, but then it's like Friday afternoon, done. Let's go.
Off. Yeah.
Yeah.
Where do you ride most then? You Woburn, or obviously I know you spend a lot of time in Surrey and that area.
Yeah, I actually don't go up Woburn very often.
Right.
Which is contrary to popular belief, I think. Like Matt and I don't really go up there much, but we spend so much time up there growing up, and now it's for me it's not that supportive maybe of wanting to be like a downhill or enduro racer because it's so flat.
Yeah.
It's cool to go up there and do a video and stuff, but it's proper like crew, like social vibe there, you know?
Yeah.
Which is sick. But then sometimes I just want to go to a big place where you can get an uplift and real hammer it for a day and feel like you've smashed it. I really like W Bike Park, the Atherton's place.
Okay. I'm yet to go there as well, actually. That's on the bucket list, pretty high on the bucket list.
Yeah. And then we can get into depth about trials venues if you want.
Mate, anywhere that basically a grass
Buxton.
muddy field, isn't it? Buxton, bro, Buxton, yeah.
Buxton boys on the trials bikes, yeah. No, I'll just go where everyone's going, really.
Yeah.
I'm not really wedded to anywhere. Just go where they're going.
Yeah, it's cool, man. I like your style. I think it's a really good approach to it. Keeping it all a little bit separate, having your day job. And what is it you do? You work in banking, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Do you want me to go on, or?
I don't know, because I remember when you came on the lockdown thing, we were talking about oil prices, but you don't work in oil or anything like that.
No.
It was just purely an observation, and you just wanted to spit some knowledge.
I think when people hear banking, I certainly did growing up. You just think that you buy and sell the shares of companies. That's not what I do. It's like that's a trader at an investment bank, whereas work for a bank that just lends money in the form of debt to companies. And then my job is to sort of look at that debt portfolio from a risk perspective and see where we might not get paid back, or where the trends in the I don't want to use words, but like the macroeconomic trends are moving, and whether those events are sort of thematic or idiosyncratic.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking as well, actually, mate. You took the words out of my mouth, actually, and used them.
I thought I did. It's not a boring job, but it's not an extreme sports job. But I find it really engaging, and I'm still learning, and I'm quite a mathsy person, as is my brother. Probably more so. He used to help me with maths at school.
Really, yeah.
We were really good at it, but he just really picked things up. So yeah, I guess it engages me from that perspective, and then I run away at the weekends to engage my sort of adrenaline side.
Adrenaline side, yeah. And what are you noticing? Listener questions. Right. Okay, we got some good ones actually, man. People are hyped. I feel like, and this is honestly, I hope this comes across as a real compliment to you, but I feel like you're like the hero, man, of mountain biking in a weird way. Like the people, like working class people look up to, because you're working class, you're not working class, but like you've got a job, you hold a job down, and you're like a weekend warrior, but you're not. And I feel like people really engage with you because of that.
Well, nice of you to say, mate.
Is that a compliment?
Yeah,
It is, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a lovely compliment.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I hope it came across as a compliment. I really do, because I think you hold it down really well. Obviously, having a job and you can always tell with this sort of stuff. Like when I say that, I've got a guest coming on, like the engagement of how actually engaged your followers are, and you can tell that people like genuinely respect you and are really interested in what you're doing. I think it's really cool, man.
Oh, appreciate that, bud. Thank you.
It's my pleasure, man. So, what we got.
Let's see what they have to say.
All right. Sax Underwear UK. If you could choose any career in the world, what would you choose?
I've asked you that already, haven't I?
Yeah.
The media scrambler. But what would I do? What would I do? And it doesn't have to be sports.
No.
There's parts of like finance which are really cool because I'm not an athlete. I'm not an athlete. I'm like I guess I am.
Yeah.
So you're quite competitive. So to be at the top of like anything is cool. There's parts of finance and stuff that'd be cool to work in, but you don't get much of a life outside of that.
Mm.
So I would be a WSL surfer.
Oh, mate, yeah.
Just that little like surf league where they say like 6 foot waves max, not dangerous, but I guess there's reefs and stuff. But it's not like Nazaré, is it? Where
no,
100
it's not like
waves.
Jaws, yeah.
It's just hot all the time.
Dude, I often think that because I'm into surfing. I can't surf for a shit, but
no, I'm not good at it.
The lifestyle is so cool. Just hanging out on beaches.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm sure if we spoke to someone, they'd be like, no, it's not all what you think. But at face value, that, or my favourite action sport film of all time is Art of Flight, which is a snowboarding film with, I'm going to forget his name now. I have forgotten his name.
Right.
But it's big mountain snowboarding when it's like 80% gradient and they're just going down something that's never been ridden before because they got heli dropped at the top through the most incredible powder. I think that for the moments that they're going down that stuff must feel absolutely unparalleled with anything.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good, again, a nice industry to work in, probably. Good lifestyle, chalets, hot chocolate. Yeah. Some nice jobs out there in the world, man. Some nice jobs. I think that is what I'd do. Surf or snowboard, which are pretty similar. Yeah, they are. At Will Cobbett 13, has Jono ever got away with pretending to be Matt and signed a contract or something? I remember Matt saying something about it once on his episode of the podcast. Personally, I don't remember that. I'll be honest.
A contract.
Imagine if you got like a full-on deal.
Yeah. I did actually. I signed. Yeah, I used his details to sign up to Bradford. No, that's a lie. No, I used my details for that. I would say I haven't to that severity, but I'm always getting confused with him, and it must barely ever happen the other way around. But if I go to sort of Crankworks or something like that, which is quite a slopestyle specific event, especially in the years that he was competing at all of them, I didn't know any of the slopestyle guys really, but they all knew Matt. So they'd see his identical twin brother coming along and be like, "What's up, Matt?" And they'd have probably loads of private jokes. And Matt's obviously quite outgoing, and I'll just be kind of timid and shy and like, I don't know what to do. And I remember actually Kelly McGarry, the late Kelly McGarry, obviously, but he, when I went to Rampage, I turned up with Brent. He was like, "Yeah, Matt, like I've not seen you ages." Came over, this big 6'6" massive guy, and just gave me a hug. I've got like my face in his chest, thinking, "Oh,
we've never met."
And I've got to come out of this, and it's always a real hard thing to whether to know to tell them straight away or just try and ride it out and think it might be over quick.
Yeah. What did you do?
I can't remember in that scenario.
Okay.
I've done a lot of both.
Have you? Yeah.
Awful lot of both. And I'll get like, I went to Fort William World Cup, and a lot of kids were asking for pictures. they're kids, so they're not like, they're YouTube fans. But they don't say, "Matt, can I have a picture?" It's just like, "Can I have a picture?"
Right. So
the smugness in me is like, well, I don't know what he's asking for, and I'm there with like a DMR t-shirt, no Red Bull hat. Not Matt. And then Matt texted me that evening. He was 700 miles south of Fort William,
right,
saying, "I've been tagged in 100 pictures today." And I got tagged in once. Oh.
Oh dear, man, that's class. That's classic. You know what? I've never really been mistaken for anyone, right? Other than for a while there was a dude in Hollyoaks called Reese, and I've never watched Hollyoaks in my life, but apparently I went through a stage about 10 years ago. I looked like this guy called Reese, and I was in a petrol station, and these two teenage girls came over and asked me for a photo, and I was like, "Yeah, no worries, I'll do it, no problem." So I just
you need to delete that.
Had this photo with these two young girls. I went through like a stage. It was really weird though. It was only like, it didn't last long. It probably only lasted for like 3 months, but it like kept happening. Like I'd be in a club and girls would be like, "Oh, you look like Reese off Hollyoaks," and I'd be like, "Oh yeah, I am Reese off Hollyoaks." And I just like ride it out. Really funny.
I could ruin Matt's career if with people think I'm him.
You just start getting your dick out in like loads of photos.
One absurd comment. No, I wouldn't do that.
Oh dear.
But I could.
Yeah, you
but
could.
I could.
You got it in your back pocket.
Yes.
It's the trump card. One for the Christmas meal. At Alpheum F. Jones, what's the most disgusting thing you've ever eaten or drunk?
Oh, horrible story.
Okay.
I did a 2-man enduro, and that's not push bikes, that's motorbikes, up in North Wales. And Droggy was there.
Yep.
Jack Drogan.
Legend.
And we went out and just went out the night before. It ended up being quite a big one up in this little Welsh town. And whenever I went to the toilet, I'd give this lad Toby, who's friends with Jake Nichols and Sean Leggett and the motocross boys. Yeah. He's there in their crew. Every time I'd go to the toilet, I don't know why I did this. I'd be like, "Can you just hold my pint?" And then every time I came back from the toilet, I'd have a full pint waiting. I'd be like, "Oh, man, they got me another one." And this happened for like hours and hours. And this would have been over a year ago. And I only found out this recently, that every time I went to the toilet, he'd just top it up with piss. And it's a horrible, horrible event. I basically drank that for an evening. So I was in the toilet for him. I was depositing it for him in the urinal. That, I think, is the answer to that question.
Wow.
And that is a snaky move, Toby.
Wow.
Wow. That is a snake. But we got him back. I went for Jake has a bit of a do at his. We had a camp out, and Toby turned up on his old school motorbike, like a road one.
Yeah.
Quite late, and asked someone where I was staying, what tent, and I wasn't there at the time. I was doing something else, and he did a burnout in front of it and filled it with sand and soil. But I was staying in that tent with one of my best mates, a guy called Chubby Hammond, who's a motocrosser. And he was like, "What's all this stuff in our tent?" I was like, "Oh, it's Toby, he gets like that, he filled it in." And Chubby was like, "No, I'm not having that. Who is he?" I said, "Well, I can't see him, but that's his bike over there." And he had one of those half-head, American biker gang helmets. Yeah. So Chubby grabbed it, went around the back of the van and did a dump in it. when we watched Toby put it on an hour later.
Yes.
Oh, it was, yeah, so I didn't get my own back on him, but I say that square. Thanks, Chubby.
Classic.
And thanks, Toby. Yeah. Don't know about eating.
Probably something you don't know about.
Yeah,
which is the worst,
like
eh?
the we until recently.
Yeah.
If I couldn't taste it, it would have been warm.
I know. Fair play, dude. You must have been pretty pissed to be drinking piss. You must have been pissed to drink
Literally.
piss.
Yeah.
Wow, good effort. Good effort. The last time I went out with Jack, I left him with all my friends who he didn't know, and I still feel really bad about it because he drove all the way from Manchester to come. Not all the way, it's pretty far though. From Manchester to Sheffield for a night out, and I ended up meeting who is now my girlfriend of 7 years, on a night out, and I was like, dude, you don't mind just hanging out with my friends, do you? I'm gonna get off with this girl, and just fully left him. And I still feel really bad about it now, but thankfully I'm still with her. So it wasn't like it weren't a one night thing.
But you owe that to Jack now. He facilitated your relationship.
Yeah, definitely. He did.
Yeah,
He'll probably be my
Christmas
best man,
present
to be
on the way.
honest. Even though we're not best friends, I just have him as my best man anyway.
Yeah. To take care of the in-laws at the wedding.
Yeah.
You can take care of them.
Yeah, see you later. I remember calling him in the morning, like the day after, and I'm like, "You good? Like, where are you?" And he's like, "I don't know. I'm at some guy called Jolly's house." And I was like, "Oh yeah, Jolly's like one of my best friends, dude. You'll be cool. You'll be fine." Oh dear. All right, what else we got? Okay, it's a good one, sort of a good one. Best YouTube videos are always the ones with Jono Jones in. When are we going to see you two ride the backyard jumps? Also, can you get Brendog and the boys together for the North vs South with Petey again? And I must admit that North vs South was so good. But yeah, have you got any plans to go ride the jumps?
One of the best. North vs South is one of the best days I've had riding ever.
It was killer, wasn't it?
For sure.
So good.
A lot of the people we spoke about today were there, but that was quality. So yeah, you're absolutely right. We must do that again. North vs South too. I can't remember who won.
It'll have been the North.
I
Don't
know
worry
the
about
Deeks
it.
had to neck a Newcastle Bretton. What do you call it? Nuki Brown.
Yeah.
And he gives it the big one, like, I used to drink in the Marines and all this, and he let us down so much. He was sick down.
Yeah, he pulled it down his front, didn't he, and threw it in the bush, and then Steve was like, "You've not even drunk it, like, go and get it back."
Yes, exactly. Steve walked over, it was half full. Yeah. So we must do that again. And to the first point, I don't think max jumps are running in the winter, but you're right, we haven't done that, and we're out of tier 3, so watch this space.
Awesome.
Maybe we'll do it soon.
Cool.
Yeah.
Just have a look. Sorry, just going through these. All right, we're going slightly deep, but I think we've kind of covered this, but we'll go for it anyway. At Kieran C91, him and Matt have often spoke about their competitive nature, but has Jono ever struggled or felt like he has been lesser than Matt? And if so, how did he deal with it?
Yeah, definitely. He's way more successful in the biking world than I'll ever be. So it's not that I feel lesser, but if you're counting success through those channels, be it views or whatever, he is more successful, absolutely no doubt. But I don't need to deal with it because I'm super proud of him and stoked for him, and I'm not on that wavelength anymore. I think if I was, it'd be tough, but I've never really felt like I'm in that headspace.
That's cool.
The only thing I've probably got is that bit of that older brother mentality, and it's only 7 minutes between us, but it's I don't know, I sometimes feel like I should be the voice of wisdom, but actually I'm ringing him up for advice on things,
Yeah. But it's just purely down to experience within it as well. If he's dealt with more of those things like, contracts, for example, or stuff like that.
No, he's really good, and he's well good at that stuff. So to answer the question, I do feel like that, but it's not a problem.
Yeah.
no, not one bit. And yeah, I'm super happy with the way things are for me at the moment. Yeah, I've got really 2 worlds that I really enjoy, so I'm buzzing.
Good. This is a good one as well, actually. At Crosby Zimmerman, what are the best and worst? Huh?
Can you say it again?
Crosby Zimmerman.
Oh, that's a good name.
That is good, actually, isn't it? Yeah, I overlooked that one. I'm sorry, Crosby. Oh, 7. He's only 7. Oh no. Okay, right. I understand now. Crosby Zimmerman. And then the question reads: best and worst parts of having a sibling rider. I'm starting to raise 2 kiddos who ride, so I'd like to know what parenting tips. I'd like to know what parenting tips did and did not work, and what to anticipate between these two as far as pushing each other, rivalry, and keeping the bond together off the bikes. Long question, but a good one, because I'm guessing this guy runs the kids' Instagram account.
Wicked question. Yeah. So Matt and I got into it when we were young as well, and Mum was super good at getting us into the woods and just sort of facilitating that for us, which it sounds like this parent is as well. But she would never give a winner to any scenario. So there was like, we'd make a little jump off a tree stump, and I think we actually spoke about this last time, but we she'd never ever like classify one of us as the winner, even though we're like, Mum, who went bigger? And it'd be so obvious if one of us did. She's like, "Ooh, I think you look very much the same there."
Right.
Which, like, in hindsight, I think we're like, because we never got labelled as better than one another. It was just constantly like, well, I need to be, so we just keep trying. You know.
Yeah.
She is just being nice. She just like didn't want to make one of us disheartened, I'm sure. But I think that really spurred us on. And for off the bike, God, I don't know. I'll have to tell you when I'm a parent.
Is it coming?
Yeah, I don't know. It's luck.
Yeah.
We didn't row. If we had fights, it would be purely to give each other a dead leg or dead arm.
Really? We never got not actually physical or
never above the neck. But like a dead leg, I'd rather get punched in the nose than have a dead leg.
Really?
Well back.
Dead legs are pretty shit. Yeah, you're right. But I don't know, man. I don't know which one I'd rather have. I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think I've ever been punched in the nose, you know. I don't think so. Not that I can think of. I had a few, like, when I played hockey, there was a few tussles, but I don't think I've ever been, like, physically, like, you know, an intentional punch in the nose. Which is quite, I'm kind of proud of that, to be honest.
Yeah. Good with words.
Or just avoid things. Good runner. Yeah. Just fast. Funny. Cool, man. All right. Well, yeah, we've burnt a few listener questions, so that's cool. Thank you, I guess. Thank you so much for doing this. It's been a pleasure to sit and chat. Appreciate you doing it.
No. We should do one, me and Matt, one day. Probably quite in the future, because it'd probably
be cool just to sit and do it as well. Find a space, and we'll do it to actually sit in a room. That'd be way better than doing it over Skype and stuff. That'd be really neat, actually. You know what? I'm just thinking back now. I'm pretty sure when I had Matt on, and I'm going back, it's probably probably 2 years ago since Matt did this. I'm pretty sure he said the same thing. He was like, we should sit with Jono as well, and we'll do it. Yeah. So we should do that. That'd be really cool, actually. As soon as all this stuff's lifted, let's just sit and go for a ride and stuff like that, Untitled, and together with, I don't know, playing on Charles' bikes or something.
Or a Centurion.
Yeah, man, imagine that. Dude.
You could do one on a Zoom call and just get people in the public dialing. No, actually, there'd be like terms and conditions.
Tim Ferriss does that. The podcast that Tim Ferriss does a drunk cast, I think, every now and again, and he just sits and gets drunk on his own and just talks rubbish and calls listeners and stuff. I'm not a good drunk, man. I'd be awful at that. I'd be absolutely awful at it. I'd just say something ridiculous and be like, just get cancel cultured.
Yeah.
Just get me too. Yeah, no, that wouldn't work. I think in a setting though, in the right setting, it'd be good. We should definitely do a Centurion podcast. I'm well up for that.
It's not my idea.
Definitely was your idea.
I will be there.
Yeah, definitely participating in that. Cool. Right, thank you, man. Yeah, go on.
final note, did you watch any of the Mike Tyson highlights?
No, but I did listen to sort of. I only watched the sound bites like from some of Snoop Dogg's commentary because it was amazing.
Oh, I heard that.
Oh, dude, Snoop Dogg did commentary on it. It's so funny. He's at one point he's like, it looks like my two old uncles fighting in the yard stuff.
Yeah, it was well disappointing. So
Yeah.
I did, obviously, we spoke about, I think I did quite a bit of boxing at uni, so I love watching it. And I would have put the house on Tyson just demolishing anyone.
Yeah.
And it was like, I don't know whether he was like told not to.
I think that's
Fill it
what
in,
happened,
but
right?
it's-
From my little knowledge about this fight, is they had some sort of clause in the contract where it wasn't gonna get too like violent, like they weren't gonna try and rip each other's heads off. And then somehow that bit of knowledge got out to the world, who found out that like it was gonna basically be an exhibition that they weren't gonna go. Which it was.
Yeah.
But then, and that's why then Tyson started ramping it up again by saying, no, I'm going to rip his head off, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. But then it looks like when it came down to it, it was pretty tame. But I haven't seen it, so.
Yeah.
Apparently the
Did you
Jake
see,
Paul
I
fight
saw
was better,
videos
right?
of him on the pad. Pardon?
Apparently the Jake Paul fight was better.
Yeah. Didn't see it, apparently.
Yeah.
No, anyway, I don't know why I thought of that.
Dude, when he was hitting those pads on that Instagram video, he looked terrifying.
Yeah, so he'd flatten anyone.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Terrifying. Like,
I
he
don't
looked
know why
like
he couldn't,
he was in his prime.
Yeah. No, interesting. What? Speaking of Snoop Dogg,
Yeah.
this is the last thing I'll say.
No, it's cool, man.
Watch
I've
a
got
video of him doing karaoke in some like Asian country.
Right.
Like, I think he must go over there and get paid to go out there, and then he stands up and does karaoke in their native tongue, if you like.
Right.
It's so wild.
Is it on
It's
YouTube?
so bad. It's so bad. Yeah. I don't know what you have to Google, but yeah, if you can't find it, tell me and I'll dig it out.
Oh, mate.
Or anyone just... Yeah, actually, it might not even be that funny.
No,
I forget I said it.
I think anything with Snoop Dogg's hilarious. He's so funny.
Oh,
Yeah, so check out some of those clips of him commentating on the Tyson fight. I don't know where that commentary was though, because people were listening to it, but I don't know where the commentary actually was. Whether it was like a separate feed or something. Yeah, but apparently it was like, and apparently again, like he does this quite often where he'll commentate on something but offend loads of people because he'll like just call people out for being shit stuff. I think it's genius.
I've got a lot of time for people to do that though. I think
Just says it how it is.
There's a time and a place for people to rinse things where it's due.
Yeah, totally.
And it sounds like he does that. So I'll watch that and you watch him do karaoke.
I will. I'm going to watch it right after this. It's the first thing I'm doing.
Mega.
Cool, man. Thank you so much. Appreciate your time. And
Thanks for having me, bud.
mate, my pleasure. Be safe.
COVID elbow.
The